طبعا المفاتيح ثلاث لا يكون شرطا لغيره. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Okay, we're good. We'll speak again at the class now. We'll speak again, inshallah. So, uh, we know that the asal in everything is ada. Ada means to do it in its proper time as it is required from you, right? So, Alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His Father, may Allah Ta'ala accept, we've done everything that relates to the ada. It is to do it exactly like how it is required from you. We've done the ada, we've done the sunnats, we've done the wajibat, the salat. So now we're going to start with the qada and what is necessary goes with it. So as I told you, the asal, the original is to do something properly how it is required from you. That's why ada came first. And now qada will come. So al-ada'u ibaratun an taslimi nafsi al-wajibi bisababin ila mustahiqihi. Ada is, ada is, ibaratun is a text. It's a word for, ibaratun is a word for, an taslimi nafsi al-wajibi. To hand over the wajib, right? It became wajib bisababin because of a reason, ila mustahiqihi, to the person who you owe it to him. Like for example, another example to understand this here. I promised you I'm going to pay you 10 rand tomorrow. So if I give it to you tomorrow, that is ada, I'm giving you like I'm supposed to. But if I delayed and I gave it to you one day later, then that is qada. والقضاء عبارة عن تسليم مثل واجبي. And qada is where you give a likeness of what was you supposed to give, not the exact thing. You give a likeness of what you're supposed to give and not the exact thing, right? So according to us, qada is mashru'. Even according to us, there's a word we call umri qada. If you miss salat for many, many years, if you have to pay it all back, the Salafis, they say there's no such thing as qada. Like if you miss one salat now, and you remember before you do the next salat, and you do qada. But like several qada'as of the past, you must just make istighfar, but you don't make qada. You knew that. You know that, Luqman, right? So, huh? Yeah, we have to cover. According to us, we have to cover up, and here's the proofs. We'll do the proofs, inshallah. من فاتته صلاة قضاها إذا ذكرها. So if a person, just look at the scenario this much, you overslept for Fajr, for example, or you forgot. Yeah, we're not speaking here about the next Salat time coming in and that will come afterwards. Right? Just for the timing, just remember like this. This morning you never read Fajr Namaz. So you remembered now before the entry time of Zohar, you remember, hey, I overslept Fajr this morning. I forgot I was rushing to Madrasa. So the moment you remember that you never do your Fajr Namaz, you never do your Fajr Namaz, right? من فاتته صلاة قضاها إذا ذكرها. And then وقدم على فرض الوقت. So you must read your قضاء namaz. You must read your قضاء namaz before the entry time of the فيه أن الترتيب بين الفوائد وفرض الوقت إننا مستحق. The default ruling according to us is that tartib to have order, like to read the Fajr first and then to read the Zohr namaz, right? Well, aslu anna tartiba, to have order, right? First the Fajr, then the Zohr. Anna tartiba bain al-fawaiti, between the masfala wa farad al-waqti and the farz of the time, mustahaqun, it is necessary, right? Carry on reading from there, Yusuf. Wa in the Shafi'i mustahabun. So Hazrat Imam Shafi say it's not necessary. What does Imam Shafi say? You can read your Zohr namaz without reading your Fajr namaz. You understood that? You can read your Zohr namaz without reading your Fajr. It's mustahab. Or in the Shaf mustahabun. Why? Because he's saying this reasoning is quite interesting. He say, look here, لأن كل فرض أصل بنفسه فلا يكون شرطا لغيره. Each one is a separate obligation, right? This is what he's saying. So each one, for example, here, just look at me one and said, I promise I'm going to pay you 20 Rand on Monday. And I promise you I'm going to pay you 20 Rand on Tuesday. And I promise you I'm going to pay you 20 Rand on Wednesday. So for some reason, I never pay you the 20 Rand on Monday. So when Tuesday comes, you're going to say, hey, today's Tuesday, you're supposed to owe me a 20 Rand. I want to give you the 20 Rand. You say, no, no, no. I don't want the 20 Rand. I first want you to give Monday's 20 Rand. Then I'm going to say Tuesday's 20 Rand. Will you do that? No, you won't do it. So this is a separate thing that's obligatory upon me. I will accept it immediately. So that's what like, or even maybe another way to understand it like this here. Uh, if you don't do your salah, does it mean you mustn't do your zakat? No. No, no, man. This guy, he doesn't really salah, so why does he usually pay zakat? Or this guy, no, man, he don't read his daily salah. Why does he want to go for Hajj? What is wasting his time to go for Hajj for? You know, salat is more important than Hajj. He's wasting his time to go for Hajj. And maybe he does have his priorities a bit skewed in the sense that Salat is more important than Hajj. But by not reading Salah, does that take the obligation of Hajj away from him? No. We know to read Salah is more important than paying Zakat even. But if a person didn't read Salah, does that relieve him of the responsibility of paying Zakat? No. He still have to pay Zakat. So you can't say, look here, you must first pay your so read your Salah, then only you can pay your Zakat. You won't say first pay your Zakat, then you will accept your, then you can do your Hajj. No, each one is a separate obligation on its own. That's what I'm saying. That's what Imam Shafi is saying. لأن كل فرض أصل بنفسه. That every farz, Zohr namaz, your Asr namaz is a separate farz. Your Zohr namaz is a separate farz. لأن كل فرض أصل بنفسه. It is an obligation on its own. فلا يكون شرطا لغيره. So the one won't be premised upon the other, like how I told you. No, I'm not going to accept this 20 Rand on Tuesday. You first must pay me the 10 Rand you owe me from Monday. Why don't you pay me the 10 Rand from Monday, or you pay me the 20 Rand from Monday, then I'm going to accept the 20 Rand from Tuesday. No. So you can't find that. So each one is a separate obligation. So if you never read the Fajr of today, that will not negatively impact upon the discharging of your Zohr of today. You understood that? ولنا, our proof is قوله عليه السلام, the statement of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, من نام عن صلاة, whoever sleeps away from his salat. See, if you look at the Qutub al-Fiqh, they never say whoever must say salah, because a Muslim never must say salah intentionally. Yes, he forgets, or maybe he slept away or something, but a Muslim never misses his salah intentionally. So, see, man nama an salatin, very, very tired, you slept away. Or nasiyaha, or he forgot the salat, right? فَلَمْ يَذْكُرْهَا, and he never remembered, إِلَّا وَهُوَ مَعَ الْإِمَامِ, but he's with the Imam in his salat, right? He's with the Imam. He's reading Zohr. So, for example, you never read Fajr. You must Fajr this morning, right? And your mind, you thought you're going to. You thought, I'll read it when I get to the madrasa, right? I'll read my fajr when I come to madrasa. But you came to madrasa, you were late, you got busy with your classes, and then you got busy with your classes, and then you forgot about it. Now, Zohar time, you in the namaz, you read, I forgot. I never read my fajr namaz. That's what the hadith is saying. You can switch it on, they see what it does, right? So that's what there's a masla. Man nama an salatin aw nasiyaha falam yadhkurha illa wa huwa ma'al imami. Is with the imam, right? You can stand on that thing, stand on the benches, right? Stand on it, right? Fal yusalli allati huwa fihi. So what Nabi Sallallahu said, don't break the Zohar namaz. Read the Zohar, carry on. Fal yusalli allati huwa fihi. Thumma yusalli allati zakaraha. Then after you finish with the imam, you read your fajr namaz, right? ثم يصلي التي ذكره ثم ليؤيد. Now this is the punchline. ثم ليؤيد التي قال صلى. When you have to repeat your Zohar namaz. So what does that show you? What does it show you? When your Zohar namaz is not correct, you're supposed to read your Fajr namaz first before your Zohar namaz becomes correct. Understood? Loud. It's coming. For the moment, just think about the scenario I told you. That you must Fajr namaz. Yeah, okay, maybe it's right what you're saying. I should tell you this. You got no other qazas. You only missed your Fajr namaz. For the moment, you only missed your Fajr namaz. Right? Okay, that's important. Yeah. And you got no other qazas on you. You only missed your Fajr namaz. So, and you said you must read. If you haven't read what the Imam has said, you must read at first. And if you started with the Imam, then you must finish with the Imam. Okay, so right, I'll tell him now. You must finish with the Imam and repeat it right. Right, carry on. Okay, you explain me what is they saying there, Yusuf. ولو خاف فوت الوقت يقدم الوقتية ثم يقضيها لأن الترتيب يسقط في ضيق الوقت وكذا بالنسيان وكثرة الفوات كي لا يؤدي إلى تفويت الوقتية. Explain to me what they're saying there. Yeah. So the default ruling is what? That you must first do the qadha namaz and then you must do the current namaz. That's the default ruling, right? You must do the must namaz first and then you do the current namaz. But there's three reasons where if you do the current namaz, it will be valid. The first reason is this here. There's less time, very less time. So say simple example, Zohar time comes out at 3 o'clock and you stood up at 5 to, I don't think it won't work, it will be lopsided. At 5 to 3 or 10 to 3, you decided, hey, I'm read Zohar. But then you remembered, hey, I never read my Fajr. Now, if you're going to read your Fajr namaz, you're going to miss your Zohar namaz. So that's a double sin. It's a double sin. So then there you are permitted to read your Zohar namaz and read the Fajr namaz. That's the first one. Yaskutu bi dhiqil waqti. Bin nisyan. You clean forgot. Like I told you, I gave you the scenario. You came from you overstepped Fajr time. You woke up at 7 o'clock. You rushed to madrasa because your taxi is 7 o'clock. So you said, I'll come to the madrasa. I'll read the qadha there. But you came here, you saw the lesson started already. You got busy with your lesson. And then Zohar Azan was called out. Still never strike you. You read your Zohar namaz, etc., etc. And then it was not in your mind that you still our Fajr namaz. And so they also your Zohar will be valid. Second reason. Third reason, وَكَثْرَةِ الْفَوَائِتِ. And here in the next bar I'll explain, you got more than 6 qadhas. You got more than six. You got more than 6. That means you got more than 6 qadhas. So a person, listen to this nicely, in Islam, Hanafi madhab, who got lesser than 6 qadhas, you got 6 and lesser, he's called a sahib tartib. It means it is necessary for him to read his namaz in order. It's wajib. It must first do the qadaz and then he must do the ada namaz. But if you got more than 6, you got, listen nicely, not 6 and more than 6. You got more than 6 qadaz, then even if you missed your fajr this morning, doesn't matter. You can read your zohar today. I repeat that. Most people got more than 6 qadaz. If you got more than 6 qadaz, if you got more than 6 qadaz, right? 6 qadaz became, sorry, no, I'm saying it wrong. I'm saying it wrong, Mark. You got 6 and more. Mark, sorry. You got 6 and more. You got 6 more, 6 and more. You got 6 and more qadaz. Then, if you missed the fajr this morning, it's not necessary for you to make qada. You can read your zohar without that. So 6 and more, 6 and more, right? Understood that? So there's 3 reasons, there's 3 instances where you don't have to do the current, you have to do the qada namaz. One is you forgot, there was no time, and the third one was what? The third one was you got 6 and more, right? Loud. You first have to read the 6 namazes and then you correct. Do his qazas, yeah. Right. 6 and more. Right. In fact, it's going to come in next year. Read it next year. So don't you have there then after that? I got here ولو قدم الفائتة جازة. Yeah. So in the next Bharat, what is saying here, that it is necessary for you to do. Now, this is a person who got, what did you tell you? 6 and less, yeah. 6 and less. Less than 6, yeah. Just keep a proper watch on it. He's got less than 6, right? So it was necessary for him to what? To read his Fajr first. But what he done is, he went and read his Zohar. So what we're saying is the Zohar is not, don't say the Zohar is invalid. The Zohar is valid, but he done a wrong thing. See, وَلَوْ قَدَّمَ الْفَائِتَةَ. Right? Oh, no, sorry, I got the wrong mark. So this, so this is referred to the scenario where the time is less. I told you, time comes out at 3 o'clock Zohar time, right? And 5 to 3, he decided to read his Zohar namaz, but he remembered, hey, I have to read my Fajr namaz. So he read his Fajr namaz first, and then he read the Zohar namaz out of his time. So he got a double qada. So we'll say that qada namaz is valid. Even though what he done was wrong, he should have read what? The Zohar first, and then he can read the Asr or the Fajr in the Asr time. But he went ignorance. He didn't know, and he read the Asr first. So we'll say the Asr is valid. وَلَوْ قَدَّمَ الْفَائِتَةَ جَازَ. Why? لأن النهي عن تقديمها لمعنى في غيرها. He's saying, look, the prohibition for reading your fa'ita is not with regards to the salat being not valid. It is for an external reason, and that is you are supposed to read your Zohar first. So it won't impact upon the Fajr Qaza itself. It is not like how you say, don't read namaz without wudu. So even if you go ahead and read namaz with wudu, it's not valid because that is something which impacts directly on the validity of what you are doing. But this here does not impact directly on the validity of what you are doing. And the nahya, because the prohibition at taqdimiha of doing the Fajr namaz before the Dhuhr namaz, lima'nan fi ghayriha, it is because of an external reason. And the external reason is that this, you should rather give preference to the Dhuhr namaz instead of reading the Fajr namaz. Right? Are you with me? That become a nafal for you. Become a nafal, right? بخلاف ما إذا كان في الوقت سعة. But this is a scenario now where there was only enough namaz for there was only enough time for the adhan namaz, right? But say contrary, بخلاف ما إذا كان في الوقت. But if there was like say half an hour left, right? وَقَدَّمَ الْوَقْتِيَةَ, and you went and you read the Zohar namaz first, right? La yajuz, it won't be permissible. You say the Zohar is not right. Why? لأنها أدى قبل وقتها ثابتة بالحديث, because yeah, you done the salah before its time. The hadith has clearly mentioned that you are supposed to read what first? The hadith has clearly mentioned you're supposed to read the Asr first. Are you with me? Right. You got that? Okay, read the next ibarat. لأنه أدى قبل وقتها ثابتة بالحديث. But ولو فاتته صلوات. Yeah. So yeah, the next, yeah, we're still speaking about lesser than 6. We still are speaking about more than 6, right? So maybe like we say 1 day salat, you must whole day salat, right? ولو فاتته صلوات مرتبة في القضاء كما وجبت في الأصل. So you'll have to say, for instance, for some reason or other, maybe a person was sick or unconscious, whatever, you must the whole day salah, which is 5. We said lesser than 6, ne? So now you want to read your Zohar namaz for the next day, or the Fajr for the next day. First you must read the Fajr, the Zohar, the Asr, the Maghrib, the Isha. Now you read the Asr of the next day. You understood that, right? ولو فاتته صلوات رتبها في القضاء كما وجبت في الأصل. You will have to make it in order, like how it become. Why? Because لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شغل عن أربع. النبي was occupied. Questions. Okay, that answer that will come. This question is here, that will come inshallah. Because لأنه شغل عن أربع صلوات يوم الخندق, that Nabi Sallallahu was occupied from his several salat in the day of Khandaq. The Muslimin were under intense pressure and they couldn't read their salah. يوم الخندق فقضاهن مرتبا. Nabi Sallallahu read in order, like after it became wajib. First the Zohar, then the Asr, then the Maghrib, then the Isha, and so forth, right? And so, and Nabi Sallallahu. So just remember, 5 and lesser, 6 and more. 5, you get confused. 5 and lesser. So when it's 5 and lesser, you have to do the tartib. When it's 6 and more, there is no tartib, right? Why? لأن الفوائد قد كثر. But so, إلا أن تزيد الفوائد على 6. But when it increases upon 6, did I tell you it's 6 or more? When your qadha namaz is 6 or more, then we won't say you have to read it first. Why? Because imagine you got 7 qadha namaz, right? You got 6 or 7 or 8. Now you're going to read your Zohar namaz. We tell you, no, look here, you first have to make qadha of all the salawat. What will happen? It's going to be difficult for you to make all the qadha namaz. So when it is 6 or more, then the tartib. So like here's to ask you a question. If you got 6 or more qadha namaz, and this morning you overslept Fajr, so you can go ahead and read your Zohar namaz, no problem. I mean, not no problem. It's not to say it's no problem that you got, but because you got 6 and more, that you're not sahib with tartib, so it's not necessary for you to read the immediate qadha immediately, right? Why? لأن الفوائد قد كثرت, because your mas'ala there are a lot. فيسقط الترتيب, so the tartib will drop off فيما بين الفوائد نفسها كما سقط بين وبين الوقتية. So even فيسقط الترتيب فيما بين الفوائد. So even between the fawaid namaz itself, you don't have to make it in order. Like if you got 6 or more qadha namaz, you don't have to say, first I'm going to read the Zohar of this day, then the Asr of this day, then the Maghrib of this day, in order as you must it. You can one day you can read all the Zohars, and then you can read all the asrs. So like how the tartib drops off in the actual qada namaz, the three kama saqata bayna wa bayna al-waqtiyati will also drop off between the waqtiyah that you can read before the waqtiyah. Now here's a critical one. When we said if you got many qada namaz, then the tartib drops off. What is many qada namaz? وحد الكثرة, the definition of kasra, أن يصير الفوائد ستا لخروج وقت الصلاة السادسة. When your qadha becomes six, and when does your qadha become six? When the time of the sixth salah come out. When the time of the sixth salah, once the time of the sixth salah come out, now you say you got six or more qadha, and when you got six or more qadha, now the tartib falls off. You understood that? وحد الكثرة أن تصير الفوائد ستا لخروج وقت الصلاة الثالثة وهو المراد بمذكور في الجامع الصغير. And the جامع الصغير عبارة that is quoted earlier, that is what it meant when you got, so remember, six or more, that is what? That is كثرة. five and less is قلة, so you still got 13 at the time. Okay, let's stop there, inshallah. We will continue tomorrow.